I also gotta say that I got this shirt made and it says, "Hi, I'm Nandi. I'm a licensed midwife, a trained doula, and the mother of 3, and I'm based in Sweden. Welcome to my channel." Not everybody is clear on what the difference is between a midwife and a doula. So I wanted to shoot a video talking a little bit about that, just to explain it a little better. So in my intro, of course, I say that I'm a doula and a midwife. So obviously it's 2 different things. But if I'm going to explain it a little bit more in depth and very quickly, I would say that the midwife is medically responsible for the person giving birth, whereas the doula is not medically responsible but is a support person or a professional support person. Let me explain a little bit more. So let's start with the doula, because that's kind of the easiest. So if you're a doula, you do not have to have any training. Like, anybody could be your doula. You could bring a friend to your birth, they can be your doula, your support person. But I think most people that use the term and say that they are a doula have either a lot of experience in supporting people through birth, or have done a doula training. In Sweden, we don't have like a licensing for being a doula. I don't know how it is in other countries actually. We do have an organization for doulas called ODIS, but there are very many different, well, not many, but there are several doula training possibilities in Sweden, and how they kind of have put together their education is kind of up to them. So usually it is very experienced doulas that are training other doulas. Like I said, you don't have to be medically responsible. Anybody can be a doula. It doesn't matter what profession you are. So you can be I don't know, a bartender and do doula training, and then work as a doula as well, to give doula support. It doesn't matter if you have medical experience. You don't have to have given birth. So each place where you get your certificate from will have different kind of trainings, but I would say that most training covers part of pregnancy, birth, pain medication, ways you can support people through birth with massage, changing positions, and so on. And also like understanding the system, I think a little bit of how the hospital birth, how the system works, and like how birth in hospital works, as well as how you as a doula can support the partner or the person who is the birth companion. So if I would give the doula a title, it would be a professional support person. And what doulas offer varies from doula to doula. Some do pregnancy, birth, and postpartum. Some do only pregnancy and birth, and specific, like focusing a lot on being birth support. And other doulas work only with postpartum. I would say that the people that only work with postpartum are quite rare in Sweden. I've heard of more birth doulas than of just plain postpartum doulas. If you want to find a doula in your area, I would suggest you do a Google search or go to ODIS website. I'll link it below. There's also a Facebook group, if you're on Facebook, where anybody can join and ask about doulas and things like that. I'll link that as well. I got this shirt and it says, "A woman for as long as she lives will remember how she was made to feel at her birth." And it's a quote from a doula. And on the back, my website. So that is a doula. So what is a midwife then? Well, a midwife is a trained medical professional. In Sweden, that means that you have to have gone into nursing school for 3 years first. Depending on which midwifery training you do, you have to have had some experience as working as a nurse before you can actually start your midwifery training, and then you do that, and then you're a midwife. And then you have 2 licenses. So you'll have the nursing license, which is one license, and then you will receive your midwifery license. So you could say that midwifery isn't really a specialty of nursing. The other specialties don't get a new license when they dive into that specialty. For example, pediatric nurse, or can't think of anybody else right now, but you know what I mean. So that is a big difference, that you have 2 licenses. You are in the nursing training. You are then responsible for pregnancy, healthy pregnancy and healthy birth, and also the first period of the postpartum period. Being medically responsible also means that you have a responsibility not only to yourself and the person you're supporting, but there are also laws that you actually have to follow. And these laws have to do with our health laws in Sweden, but also the patient laws. And then there are, of course, what do they call them in English? Oh, I can't think of the word. And then, of course, there are recommendations that you have to follow as well, or whatever the clinic has decided that this is how we work in a certain way. A midwife in Sweden is allowed to attend birth at the hospital and at somebody's house. However, most midwives that work with birth work in hospital, because a home birth is quite uncommon in Sweden. I have a whole video on home birth. I will link it below as well. But to kind of summarize a little bit of it is to say that the midwives that work with home birth do it privately. So they will have their own company, and they will not be employed by the hospital or an employer. If that's the most common way it's done in Sweden. So should you hire a midwife or a doula? I think you should hire both. If you're going to have a home birth, you might not feel that you need a doula. I haven't given birth at home myself, so I don't have personal experience in this. But when I have asked very few people that have given birth at home, would they have wanted a doula also, or did they have a doula also, the most common answer is no. I think part of it, of course, has to do with the financial part. You have to finance your home birth on your own, and you have to finance your doula on your own. I forgot to say that, but the doula is not financed by the government. You have to pay for a doula privately. If you give birth in a hospital, you don't get to choose your midwife, but your doula, you get to choose. You get to have a relationship with them beforehand. You get to know each other. They will understand you and what your partner needs, and they will also be there for you after. So in that sense, a doula can be a really good person to add to your support team. So I don't think that having a midwife completely excludes the need for a doula. I recommend to have both, because of partly how the situation is in hospital, but I also feel like there's a strength in having somebody that is just there for you. A doula doesn't have to care for somebody else at the same time. They're there for you. They can speak for you if needed. They know what you like and what you dislike. They have worked with you beforehand. They have supported other people. So there's a lot of benefits with having a doula that I think, unfortunately, the midwife can't fill those shoes. I know that there can be some tension, to use a kind word, between the hospital midwife and a doula, a birth doula, and I think that's unnecessary. I feel like a doula and a midwife have different roles in the situation and are there for different reasons, but together they kind of complete the support team around a person giving birth. So yeah, that is my little summary of what is a doula versus what is a midwife. is there anything you would like to find out more about? Leave a comment below. I have more in-depth video on what a midwife is in Sweden and what a doula is in Sweden. I will link them in the description box as well. And please subscribe to my channel. I'd love to see you here again. And until then, I'll see you next time. Hej då!